Brazlovsky took to Instagram to share this. He said, "This is the man who, on his orders and with his own hands, abused me and almost killed me several times. This is him. Remember when you told me to deliver a message to the Shin Bet? That you gave them a third finger and that you weren't afraid of them? The message was delivered. Enjoy your time in hell." And while we're on the Gaza topic, we actually have some really good news. Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich said on Monday that plans for 3 Israeli settlements in northern Gaza have been completed and are awaiting Prime Minister Netanyahu's green light. If these plans are approved, it will be solid proof that Israel is in fact winning the war against Hamas and that this current war isn't just another round of, quote, mowing the grass. Smotrich called on Bibi to allow the advancement, saying implementation could begin immediately afterwards. He said, quote, "I call on the Prime Minister to give the approval, let us complete the mission, and restore real security to the residents of the South." Giving away the Gaza Strip in 2005 has resulted in more bloodshed than Israel or anyone else could have ever imagined, both for Israelis and also for Gazans. And now after the war, Israel once again holds 70% of Gaza. And honestly, it's not viable for them to give it back to Hamas, given everything that has happened. And if Israel can't give it back, maybe creating a more integrated dynamic like currently exists in Judea and Samaria could be a good path forward. Whatever happens, Israel can't return to the dynamic of pre-October 7th. It's just plain and simple a terrible idea. And thankfully, Bibi and pretty much the entire Israeli public, both right and left, realize that. Israeli weapons manufacturer who are responsible for the creation of the Iron Dome. The video details a joint drill Israel's Ministry of Defense conducted, where the Iron Dome was used alongside Iron Beam, the laser system, to defend against a complex multi-threat scenario. In the video, you can see the Iron Dome working to shoot down incoming drones and missiles. This is interesting because traditionally Israel has relied more heavily on the longer range arrow systems to combat ballistic missile threats like this, leaving the Iron Dome to defend against smaller threats like rockets and drones. But with this test, IDF officials specifically stressed that the Iron Dome can in fact be used to intercept ballistic missiles. In this test, you can also see the Iron Beam being used to mainly intercept drones, which is what it was designed for. What's interesting, though, is according to the Jerusalem Post, the Iron Beam is being adapted to soon be able to actually intercept ballistic missiles as well. To date, the Iron Beam has already successfully shot down some 40 drones along Israel's northern border. That represents a total cost of about $120 for the electricity used to power the laser. For all of those interceptions combined, it's about $3 a shot. If Israel had instead used the Iron Dome to shoot down these drones, the total cost would have been at a minimum nearly $500,000. But amazingly, that isn't even the biggest advantage that the Iron Beam offers. During the most recent war with Iran, it's reported that the U.S. fired somewhere around 150 THAAD interceptors out of a pre-war stockpile of around 400. The issue here is that currently the U.S. is only able to build about 96 interceptors every year. What this means is that once a kinetic missile defense system, like the THAAD, runs out of ammunition, it's likely useless for the rest of the entire war. The Iron Beam, on the other hand, requires no production of interceptors, since it's just basically focused heat powered by electricity. This means that as long as the power remains running, the Iron Beam essentially has an endless supply of ammunition on tap and ready to fire. While Rafael was testing the integration of these new defense systems, the Israeli public was also being tested. Israel just conducted a nationwide mass casualty simulation. The official reason given was to prepare for a major earthquake, but with everything going on in the Middle East right now, I think there's probably a little bit more going on here than what official government channels are saying. The exercise was held in coordination with the National Emergency Authority, and like I said, the official purpose was to evaluate Israel's readiness for a catastrophic earthquake. Officials simulated mass casualties, infrastructure damage, power outages, and a breakdown of transportation. Officials didn't give a clear answer as to why they're conducting this drill right now, only that this is the first in a series of drills aimed at strengthening nationwide readiness. It's possible this is inspired by the tragic earthquakes that we just saw in Venezuela, with thousands of people still trapped under the rubble nearly a week after the event. But while this nationwide mass casualty simulation certainly could be useful in the event of an earthquake, it's also possible this is a quiet simulation for the possibility of a catastrophic war, like with Turkey or Egypt in the near future. Obviously, God forbid. Both countries have been stepping up their rhetoric against the state of Israel, and both countries pose a massive threat to Israel militarily. Obviously, we hope and pray that this would never happen. Before these drills took place, there was actually major movement across the Gaza Strip to initiate mass protests against the rule of Hamas. Many expected crowds to show up in force, especially since Hamas is currently in a very weak position. But while there were some protests in different locations that involved a few people, the response was largely underwhelming. According to an interview with an anonymous Gazan to media outlets, people are simply too afraid to protest after all they have been through. He said, quote, "No one can imagine the level of fear and intimidation Hamas has installed in people's hearts since its foundation in 1987.